All right, we could know very soon. Patriots owner Robert Kraft could be officially charged on that prostitution bus around Jupiter, Florida, to sports agent Doug Eldridge, what we're looking at. Doug, whatever the criminal charges that might or might not be filed, what does the NFL do?
Well, Neil, this is really interesting. And first of all, full disclosure, as an agent, I've had the privilege to work with the Patriots in the past, sending players there. And it's really been a top-notch organization, from the general manager to the coaches to Miss Nancy in the front office. But the players would say the same thing, going all the way up to and including Mr. Kraft. But I think the country, so I have a unique perspective, but I think much of the rest of the country is looking at this probably through one of three lenses. The legal process, which we're seeing play out now, the court of law. The second are the optics and the perception, the court of public opinion. And then thirdly is what you mentioned, and that's the National Football League, a $15 billion a year entity and industry headed by Commissioner Roger Goodell, who has a marked history of punishing players and owners alike for deviations of the personal conduct policy. So
what would the punishment be?
Well, that's a good question, and there's really no apples-for-apples comparison. We've seen a couple of stark examples over the last 20 years. In 1998 or 99, DeBartolo with the 49ers was suspended for a year. 2014, Mr. Irsay with the Colts got 6 games and $500,000. And then last year, Mr. Richardson, the now former owner of the Panthers, was ultimately fined over $2 million and sold the team soon thereafter. The conventional wisdom, and I'm certainly not suggesting this by any measure, but the conventional wisdom seems to say that Mr. Goodell is going to punish Mr. Kraft to the fullest extent possible, which looks like 6 games and $500,000.
All right. Now, the other added dramatic element here is that besides the prostitution charges, that they stem from an investigation into a human trafficking ring at this facility that extended to other facilities. So it's a little bit more involved than that, right?
Well, see, and that's why I said, of these 3 rings, if you wanted to consider it like a Venn diagram, to me the most concerning at this point is the second, and that's the court of public opinion.
Right.
The wheels of justice are already in play, and the legal process will bear itself out in painstaking detail. The real concern is in the second, and that's the court of public opinion. We've all saw the op-ed writers take their swipe, and the real danger I think that Mr. Kraft runs into, to be quite honest, is that they don't take control of the narrative. Now, so many people use that term that it's become almost cliche. But for those of us that work in public relations and crisis communications, taking control of the narrative is a proactive, aggressive role to make sure that the entire conversation and the focus is relegated to the facts and the issue at hand. Now, what you just mentioned in terms of trafficking may have nothing to do with Commissioner Goodell whatsoever. But if they don't forcefully take control of this conversation and make sure that our discussion and our focus is relegated to those misdemeanor charges under Florida statute, then it runs risk of essentially becoming that uncapped pen in your pocket that bleeds all the way across and becomes something entirely different. It was never, ever capsulated and wasn't relegated in terms of scope, and the damage was unequivocal. Now, I'm not trying to play doomsday or say that's going to be the case with Mr. Kraft, but that would certainly be my focus, the court of public opinion, because there are far less evidence, far less impartiality, and the pace and scathing sense of judgment amidst the Twitter mob in the court of social media justice can be unrelenting at times.
All right, but, you know, he paid a lot of money for the New England Patriots. Can the NFL force him to leave the Patriots or to sell the team outright, to disassociate himself from?
Well, it's a possibility, but not a probability. Mr. Kraft bought this team. This is ironically the 25th anniversary of him purchasing the franchise for, I believe, a then record $174 million. The Patriots are now the second most valuable American sports franchise at roughly $3.8 billion, second only to the Patriots. Now, to answer your question, specifically, in order to force a sale, this comes in under the NFL Constitution, Article 8. And in that instance, this is why I say it's probably not a probability. In that instance, one of 2 things would have to happen. Either the commissioner would have to bring this to a vote, or an owner who's sitting on the executive committee. And then 23 of the 31 owners, Mr. Kraft being the 32nd, he wouldn't get a chance to vote, 23 of 31 owners would have to vote that the conduct was so detrimental to the integrity and the value of the NFL as an entity and as an idea that sale is inevitable. The probability of that happening is incredibly, incredibly low. This is most assuredly a PR black eye, but this is not going to be a fire sale for the Patriots.
So, real quickly, you were saying that the Patriots are the second biggest franchise. What's the first?
The Dallas Cowboys with Mr. Jerry Jones.
All right, got it. All right, Doug, thank you very, very much. Doug Eldridge. We'll watch closely.